How's it going, everybody? So I was reading on this Reddit thread a post that said Molyneux goes full potato, claims that selling loose cigarettes is not a victimless crime. So I had to check out that video, and the video is racist until proven innocent on Molyneux's channel. And I wanted to listen to see, okay, what is this guy talking about as far as Eric Garner's death goes? What is he saying that there's supposedly a victim? And so listening to it, he basically said it on two prongs. One, there could potentially be a victim because one person is complying with the law versus one person who's not. Selling outside of that realm, impacts the person who is actually complying, which, I do not see how that has a victim, considering that complying with the system is something that's unethical anyway on its own premise. Not that, you may have to in order to survive, but rather that the system itself is just is unjust. And then two, he suggests, oh, well, the location of a person selling could interfere with the business because maybe they're on a public sidewalk, and that's taking away business or undercutting the person who actually has set up a business, slash shop, and is complying with the laws otherwise. And again, same issues there. Technically, those are all public, and given that it's currently public, everybody has access to it. So guess what? It doesn't matter who's doing anything with that. That's why privatization has to occur in those realms in order for there to be a victim to begin with. As for now, no. So I don't see how he is articulating any of these foundational principles well in these contexts, because they just make no logical sense or economic sense given the premises. You could descriptively say, oh, he's causing possibly an economic diversion of funds from another person, but technically that's no different given the underlying premises than saying, oh, guess what, McDonald's makes a better burger or has better chicken fingers than Burger King, and so people are now going there instead because it's better or cheaper or whatever. Okay, guess what, that's what it is. It's not, it's a cost-saving measure that's working outside the system, but in this case the system is unjust. It's unethical to begin with as far as the taxation goes. So given that, there is no such thing as having a victim in the ethical sense. It just stinks that, of course, that people are being threatened with force to have to do this, and he faces those threats, as unfortunately you saw with his death. But that's kind of the risk that you run with the state as it currently is. Every law is backed by the full threat of force, including up to death. Every law is technically a potential death penalty if you resist, and that's terrifying, especially considering the overbreadth and the amount of criminal laws in the books. I think that Molyneux's choice of words here is extremely poor. I think that it has no philosophical foundational sense. You could, of course, talk about it in a descriptive sense, saying, oh, he is diverting funds, but again, there's a difference between describing the economy of it versus the ethicalness of it action. And I think he definitely messed up his words there. That's just not good, considering the IP issue too that he ran into. So and that it goes across anything. Any sort of activity. If somebody's not actually violating another individual's person or property, that's not a crime with a victim. When it comes to the state, it's just not. In this case, until there is a dissemination or a bridging of the gap of these kinds of resources into privatization, or potentially collective owned types of privatizations. You think of, like, I guess you could say, like clubs or jointly owned resource groups or trusts or associations. Again, the concept of privatization doesn't mean, oh yeah, one person has to own this. People could own things in shares and trust and in groups and stuff like that, and have that type of establishment. But with the state, that's not how it was ever done. It was never done through privity of contact. It was never done through personal interaction and claiming a stake of ownership. It was done with, here's a flag, guess what, I own from here to here, I can draw on the map, and anybody that tries to come, I'm just going to shoot them. It had nothing to do with actually typical land ownership development, which included changing the land's nature, fencing off, and so on and so forth, showing possession originally. That's the big difference between the state and everything else, is that the state is just a small group of people who decide, hey, guess what, we're going to suddenly claim that this large area is ours now, and we're going to take money and hire people you know, to threaten other people to give us more money so that we can maintain these boundaries. So that's really what it is. So that's the difference. And until those other issues are changed, the circumstances are changed, you know, it's what it is. There's just not a true victim in the ethical sense. So I hope that clarifies some things and brings to light just one more strange way of phrasing it. I really hope that he wasn't meaning what he said in terms of the literal statements, in terms of saying, oh, ethically there's a victim. I hope that he maybe conflated his words and saying, oh, well, economically, yes, there are people who are going to lose resources because of the diversion, you know, to someone who's not doing the taxing. Well, yeah, that's a description of the actions, but is that unethical? No, no, not by libertarian voluntarist principles. All right, take care, everyone. Talk to you later.